one is a cartoon by Calvin Hobbes and says, "It's true, Hobbes, ignorance is bliss." Ignorance is bliss. Or the other one, obviously is Pinocchio, it says, "Honesty is the best policy, honesty pays." So, if you have to choose, ignorance is bliss or honesty is the best policy, which one will you choose as your way of life? Jadi pilihannya gini saudara, saudara pilih mana? Tidak tahu tapi bahagia atau tahu tapi menderita? You don't know and you might be happy, or you know everything but that might lead you to suffer. Because I think some people kind of, swing into one direction or another, right? Some people would like to know everything before they make a decision, even though it's gonna lead to something that they don't like to hear. But some people just, it's okay lah, right? It's okay, I don't want to know that much, just okay, it's fine, right? As long as I'm happy now. I'm from, my family comes from Madiun. And in Madiun we have this famous dish, kalau yang belum tahu, pecel, thank you. So, right? yes, we have some people from Madiun here. So, in Madiun, for breakfast, we have pecel. For lunch, we have pecel. For dinner, we have pecel. Thank you, you guys are all perfect mark. Now, there's one, if you want to have a good nasi pecel in Madiun, you gotta find the person who sells it, who takes, because when you go to order a nasi pecel, the mbak or the owner, the chef, the cook will take, all the vegetables and all the meat with her hands, no gloves, right? And so you can see, right? Okay, you get the vegetables, you get the meat, you get all the other stuff, and then touch the money, and then shake hands, and then wipe, and then this one is too much. Okay, in that case, ignorance is bliss. It's like just don't tell me what that is. I just want to eat the nasi pecel. In that case, it's better to do it like this. One nasi pecel, please, and then just I don't want to see. I don't want to see. This is so good. I don't know what's inside, but it don't matter, right? In that case, ignorance is bliss. Yeah. But in another case, if you heard of this, I don't know, maybe this is a hoax or something. But there's a news quite recently that there's a court. There's a husband who basically in China, he sued his wife for marrying him. Why? Because when they had a child, the child by the newspaper, or at least it's described as ugly beyond description. So the husband is suing the wife because the child is ugly beyond description, even though the wife is very beautiful. Right, yes. So it turns out that she had a plastic surgery and she never told the guy. So so would you like to know? I would say, I would suggest that, yeah, in that case, honesty is the best policy. I mean, what's the alternative, right? Oh God, how come you don't look the same? Right? So it depends, right? It depends. Now, obviously, the question becomes, what about with God, right? What about with our faith? Yeah. Do you believe that do you believe Christianity because it's true? Or do you believe because you want it to be true? Because those are different. Saudara percaya kekristenan karena benar, atau saudara percaya kekristenan karena saudara mau benar? Bodoh amat, ignorance is bliss, right? Sometimes. Now, in our day and age where truth is more and more liquid, right? It can change it at a whim. It's getting more and more important that we understand what it means to live in the truth and how that affects a community like the church. And for that, we will open our text today at Ephesians 4. Ephesians 4, verse 14 to 16. I actually have it up there, but if you want, maybe it's too small, I apologize. But if you have it on your Bible, it's fine too. Ya, jadi ini Efesus 4, 14 sampai 16. We will focus on verse 15, but we will read all of those 3 verses together. Okay? Got it? This is the ESV. Let's read together, shall we? 3, 2, 1. So that we may no longer be children, tossed to and fro by the waves and carried about by every wind of doctrine, by human cunning, by craftiness in deceitful schemes. Rather, speaking the truth in love, we are to grow up in every way into Him who is the head, into Christ, from whom the whole body, joined and held together by every joint with which it is equipped, when each part is working properly, makes the body grow so that it builds itself up in love. Amen. Ephesians 4 is about the life and the unity of the church. And for that, so that we can have this united front, God gave the church many people with gifts. God gave the church like the apostles, the prophets, the teachers, evangelists, shepherds, and all of that. Okay? Gembala, pengajar, Tuhan kasih semuanya itu. Why? Because we have many needs. Many talents, many roles imply that we have many needs. Not just one. We need to be taught, yes, but we also need to be shepherded. We need to be cared for, right? But the whole point is that the purpose of it all, why God gives so many teachers and all of that, is so that we can be mature. We can be mature. Because as you can see right here, Paul is giving us a contrast. Paulus sedang memberikan sebuah kontras, gitu ya, between we have infancy and maturity. That's that one. No longer children, right? You want to be mature, grow up, right? He gave another contrast, for instance, between being deceived and tossed about and joined and held together, right? The verse 14, you have people tossed to and fro, not tidak stabil, begitu ya. And the other contrast is you got joined and held together, so strong, right? And the final contrast is between you have the human cunning, craftiness, deceitful schemes versus speaking the truth in love. So the point is, the common thread of all of that is, in order to grow, you need truth. So you are a children. You want your children, and you want to be an adult. You need truth. You don't want to be tossed about, right? You want to be solid, joined together. You need truth. And finally, not just deceive. You don't want to be deceived all your life, right? You don't want to deceive. You want to know the real substance of things, and so that you will be able to speak the truth in love. So from this verse, just verse 15, we will learn these 3 things. Okay? The necessity of truth, kebutuhan dari sebuah kebenaran, the spirit of truth, or like the roh atau sifat dari kebenaran itu sepertinya gimana sih, gitu ya. And finally, the purpose of truth. And I'll show you it's all connected to one another. Okay? Now, let's just look at our verse 15 again in your Bible. I'm just going to repeat it one more time. It says, rather, speaking the truth in love. Speaking the truth. Now, in Greek philosophy, in Roman philosophy, truth is about factual events. Okay? Truth in Greek is aletheia, in Latin is veritas, right? It means like, accurate perspective on reality. But in the Hebrew scriptures, this is quite interesting. Di dalam pemikiran Yahudi, ya, kebenaran itu artinya kesetiaan Tuhan. In Hebrew scriptures, truth, the meaning, the primary meaning, is not about facts. The earth is round, that's a fact, right? Elvis is dead, okay? Just saying. But the truth is, it has to do with God's faithfulness. God's faithfulness. Who God is and what He says matches with His actions. That's truth. Jadi, siapa Tuhan, apa yang Dia katakan itu cocok sama karyanya, perbuatannya. Itu kebenaran. That means truth is not merely abstract. It's just a fact. But truth has to have a real life consequence. Gitu ya. So, kebenaran itu ada fungsi, maksudnya ada konsekuensinya. The truth is alive. That's why in verse 15, actually speaking the truth is not really accurate. It's more in the original language, more doing truth or acting truly, or even it's not grammatically correct, but it's true thing. Okay, it's not a noun, it's a verb. Bukan kata benda, kata kerja. So it's true thing. Even I have difficulty saying it. Oh my God. Okay, true thing, right? In love, right? True thing. So it's relational perspective. Now, why is that important? Because of this. Why people believe what they believe? Kenapa sih saudara itu percaya sesuatu? Now think back. Why do you believe in God? Why do you? Maybe that's too far. Why do you believe in anything at all? Right? Some people believe because it's instinct, right? Yeah, because it seems true to me, right? And to the statement we ask, why? Why do you believe in your instinct? Can our instincts be wrong? Sure. Unless it's a mother's instinct, then I don't want to bother with that. Itu mungkin berbahaya sedikit kalau instinct seorang ibu, saya nggak tahu. It's like accurate, maybe 50%. I don't know. Okay. Some people believe, why? Because feelings. Because it feels like, I feel peace. So it must be true, right? Have you ever felt that? Holiness is the one. Because I feel it. I feel it. I know it. As soon as our eyes met, and I feel it in my heart, right? But let's say the plastic operation. So you don't know. Can feelings be wrong? Absolutely. It ups and down. When you are, sometimes I observe that when people are hungry, they're just, they're more sensitive, and so the feelings is not really good. You make sure you want to talk something, serious. Make sure they're not hungry. Some people, wish fulfillment, right? Wish fulfillment. That means I want this to be true, right? I believe in God. I believe God will not send people to hell. That's not the kind of God. Well, how do you know that? Well, it must be like that. Just because you want it to be true doesn't mean it's true. It's very simple. I can fly. Great. Please jump off the building. Right? Just because you want it true doesn't mean that it's going to be true. Others, it's just, what is that? It's customs. Oh, it's cut out. Customs. Why do you believe in God? Oh, because my dad believes in God. Because my mom believes in God. My parents live in God. And so forth, and so forth, and so forth. Right? Tradisi aja. Aku percaya karena tradisi. Because my pastor said so. I mean, there's a guy who walks in a church and see a Jesus on the cross. It's like, oh, if I don't obey, I'm going to end up like him. That's a bit different. Yeah. So, but can our customs be wrong? Yeah. I mean, if right now, let's say you are born, statistically speaking, okay, if you are born in a different parts of the world, I don't think you will believe in Jesus. Because the custom of other parts of the world believe in something else or someone else, right? So you can't rely on customs. Others rely on this popularity. Why do you believe that? Because everybody believes it, right? Follow the crowds. The majority always wins. And sometimes that's not always true, isn't it? In the past, we used to believe what? That the earth, the earth is the center of the universe, right? Dulu kita percaya bumi itu di tengah alam semesta, tata surya, gitu kan? Everyone revolves around the earth. Everyone is wrong, right? Everyone is wrong. So no, the majority sometimes is not correct. Sometimes it's not. So how do we believe it's true or not? Let me help you with this, okay? Some questions that helps you believe. First of all, does it make sense? Okay, you ask yourself this question: Does it make sense? Masuk akal apa enggak sih? An example, okay? There's a view today, especially amongst the younger generation, that whatever science says it's true must be true. Reality is restricted to what the science can explain. Often people say, well, in the past people believe in God, people believe in the transcendent because they can't explain it. It's actually thunder, but they say it's God, right? But now we have science, we can explain everything. So if science can see it, measure, analyze it, then it's real. It means religion is nonsense because you can't analyze it, right? You can't see it. So science is the real truth. This is a view that some would say called scientism. But the idea with this is actually problematic. I'm not going to talk too far because it's not the point of the sermon, but see, follow along with me just for a second, okay? So, scientism believes science can explain everything, right? But notice, science can explain everything that is not a scientific sentence, right? How do you test in the lab science explain everything? You cannot. So science can explain everything. It's actually a philosophical idea. Bukan. So it kind of defeats itself. Do you get what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense in a way. It defeats itself. It's like saying there is no objective truth. Well, is that objective truth? Right? So it's that kind of So how about Christianity? See? Well, that's the job of theology. That's why we go to church. That's why we learn in small groups. That's why we do catechesis. And you will find, if you go to church, if you learn your Bible, you will find that Christianity has a coherent or has a worldview and understanding that makes sense. From creation, fall, redemption, restoration. The story makes sense. So if you want to know something strong, you check it whether it makes sense. So that's one way. Second, you can ask this question: does it correspond to reality? So if I say, my car is in the parking lot, okay? How do I know it's true? How do you know it's true? Yeah, saudara turun, you go down, you open the door, you go to the parking lot and see the car, right? If the car is there, then it's true, right? So, my car is in the parking lot. The car is there, so it's true. Okay? Now, we look at God. We look at God. We say, okay, we believe there's a God, right? There's a God. How do you check that? Well, let's see. Let's look at the world. That's why we sing all the preachers of our God and King, right? Look at the world. Is there any evidence that kind of points to Him, right? Because if there's a God, there must be traces of Him, right? And one way to know it's a lot we can know from our universe. And one way that many people has pointed out is our morality. Right? How do you know something is right or false? Right or wrong? How do you get that? Do you get that from evolution? Do you get that from some imperfect law, some impersonal law? Or do you get that from a personal God? Right? So morality, everybody can agree, right? Everybody, everywhere, no matter what background, language, nationality, everybody can agree that rape is wrong, murder is wrong, sexual exploitation is wrong, poverty is wrong, right? So we look at the world and we see, is it really true? And then you can also ask this question. This is one of the weakest tests, but it's still important. Does it work in real life? Right? Does it work in real life? I mean, let's say if I give you a medicine, ini obat jantung, right? This is a medicine for your heart, and you eat and then you consume it. Does it actually work, right? If it doesn't work, then it's not true. Very simple, as simple as that. Because in some ideas, there's an Eastern guru, basically. He believes that the world is an illusion. The world is an illusion. But he still crosses the street looking, just making sure the car doesn't pass by. If the world is an illusion, then why do you have to, wonder about that? Maybe it's going to just pass through your body or something like that. But does it work? So this is the question that you need to ask at this point. When you believe in Christianity, how has it changed your life? Right? If you look at the world today, since the birth of Christ, how has the world changed? And you can look in history, you can learn from the history books that Christianity has brought so many good things in the world. It has brought us hospitals and schools, civil rights movement, right? Many things. Even our understanding of science, the foundation is the Judeo-Christian worldview, right? So does it work? If it's true, it must work, right? Christianity, and I hope that some of you, when you are in the past, that's who you are, but once you are in Him, you're someone different. That's how you know if it's true, right? If it's not true, then maybe it may work for a while, because sometimes people use that. It may work for a while, but it's gonna just. But if it's true, it's gonna work all the time. And finally, sometimes people don't. Finally, this one. Does it come from a reliable source? Now, it's a simple point, but it's saying simple as this. Now think with me, okay? Think about your whole life now. Look at all that you know right now. Coba saudara pikir segala sesuatu yang saudara pernah tahu. Okay? Got it? How do you know that you are really 20 years old? For instance, if you are 20, tahu dari mana saudara itu umurnya benar? Ayo. How do you know? How do you know your parents ngantuk gitu, sleepy, and then it's supposed to be 1987 and then 1957, right? How do you know? How do you know if you are actually 20 years old, 50 years old, 70 years old? You believe your parents, because parent is a reliable source. It's kind of cool, right? Oh, I'm actually 18, actually. Oh, you lied to me. Oh, I was wrong. That's kind of funny, right? Oh, I'm 38. No. One more zero. I mean, but we believe because coming from a reliable source. And think about all the things you know about the world. Think about all the things you know. Let's say, how do you really know that the moon is shaped like that? I don't know. Have you been there? Anybody? Yes, as soon as I can get $1 million. Oh, that's good for you. But most of us won't go to outer space, right? And how do we know that the space is black and the moon is white, grayish? How do we know? Because people went up there. NASA went up there, and other folks we don't know the names of. Yeah, right? Because we believe because it's a reliable source. This is the government, or this is the this is the U.S. This is the European Union. What is it? We believe that because a reliable source, and hopefully from a reliable character as well, right? How do you know we have bacteria and microbes? You can't see them, right? You can't see them. I mean, can we just make ourselves small like Ant-Man? No. If you don't know Ant-Man is, Google it up. It's a superhero that can become the size of an ant, even smaller in molecule size. Anywho, so how do we know? We know because we have doctors and scientists, and we believe them, right? because they have the proper credentials, because they have the proper, hopefully, characters, this dedication, they swore the oath to be a doctor and tell the truth, right? So we believe, most of what we know, I can say, 99% of what you know today, you believe from someone else. You believe from a reliable source, right? It's just common sense. Now we look at Christ. Can we believe what he says about God? Same criteria. Can we believe his life? Is he a good person? Right? Simple, right? Can we believe the way he's teaching? Did he teach with authority? Or he's just like many of pastors today, a comedian on action? Right? How did his life go with his disciples? Did he teach them with authority and love? See, we can see, right? So just look at just a common human point of view. Can I believe what this guy called Jesus is saying 2,000 years ago? Look at his life. Look at his teachings. Look at his miracles. Look at what other people said about him. And I hope that you can see that Jesus knows one or two things about God. And you can believe. Alright? So, hopefully at this time you will grab or you will hold the truth. Okay. I think Christianity makes sense. I think it corresponds to reality. I think it works in real life. And it comes from a reliable source, Jesus Christ, and the Word of God, the Bible. I'm not going to go there because it's another sermon, okay? So I believe it. Now, what do you do with this truth? That's the second question. Now we go to the spirit of truth, okay? What do you do with truth? The answer in our text is speaking the truth in love. Now, if you compare verse 14 and 15, okay. If you compare those previous verse 14 and 15, look at how Paul is trying to make a contrast again between the disciples or the believers. They want the church in Ephesians to speak the truth in love, whereas there are others in the church, false teachers, okay? They want to deceive everyone. They want to make people either tossed and fro by the waves, carried by the wind, by human cunning, craftiness. One has the truth, but the motivation is love. The other, the motivation is cunningness or craftiness. Now, this helps us to understand a very simple point. That is, truth, when you have truth, if put in the wrong hands, if put with the wrong motivation, it's dangerous, right? Truth in the wrong hands is dangerous. Truth in the wrong kind of person can be disastrous. The winner of 2016 Best Picture Oscar, Spotlight, recommended the movie. This is about. Have you anybody watched this before? Yeah. Okay. Cool. This is about a story of an investigative journalist team at Boston. They tried to uncover the scandal of the Catholic Church. Okay. This is based on real events. It's a very engaging film. This is the guy. All of it is they are journalists back in 2002. They investigated church because they're saying these people are being molested by priests. And at that time, the Catholic Church did not do anything about it. In fact, the same priest, they kept rotating him in the same location. The same priest who was found guilty of child molestation, rather than they reprimanded him, he was put, just moved to another church, something like that. So they uncovered the scandal. It was a big deal. And this movie just took you, I think it's 2.5 hours of film, just very engaging, very thrilling. But what I read about this movie though, is actually the director, they don't put everything in black and white. Oh, the church is bad and journalists are the angels. No. Okay? They put all of these people, they are broken, sinful people, they have mess in their lives, they are sinful. Okay? And the church is not all black. They have hope over there at that film. But there's one thing, one quote that's why I cannot forget about this film. When I was researching this sermon. It is this quote. This is spoken by one of the victim. He was small at the time, but he became an adult. Sudah gitu ya. Was interviewed, and this is what he says. Can you see that? This is what he says. When you are a poor kid from a poor family, and when a priest pays attention to you, it's a big deal. How do you say no to God? How do you say no to God? And it's like the truth, God, right? But employed or practiced in the wrong way. It's dangerous, very dangerous. How do you say no to God? He's the pastor, he's the priest. I'm supposed to say yes, sir. Right? See that? So without love, truth can be dangerous. Now usually what we do with truth is a couple of things. Some of us, we mix truth with laziness. Okay? Oh, we know something, but we don't investigate it much. So what we have, we just have truth, but we don't go deep. What we have is gossip in the church. Right? What we have is surface level knowledge. What we have is indifference. Kita jadinya cuek. Gitu. See, if you have truth, only truth, but not commitment, what you have is like this. You might be a Christian. You might go to church, you might go to Bible studies. But you may not be committed to the truth. It's like saying, I have a belief, but my life is not driven by that belief. Right? Aku cuma tahu A, B, C, D, E. Tapi hidupmu dikontrol sama itu apa enggak? Enggak. Right? It's like saying, yeah, I like this movie, but my life is not affected too much. Because that's how when you put just truth and laziness. Actually, one poet put it like this. This is Dorothy Sayers. He said it's about when you put truth without truth and laziness. She calls it sloth. And it's a sin. And he says, in the world it calls itself tolerance. It is the sin which believes nothing, cares for nothing, seeks to know nothing, interferes with nothing, enjoys nothing, loves nothing, hates nothing, finds purpose in nothing, lives for nothing, and only remains alive because there is nothing it will die for. It's kind of a piercing quote, right? If you just have truth without commitment, without love, it's useless. But other people, they mix truth with pride, right? They mix truth with pride. Oh, I believe in this, everybody's wrong. If they don't agree with me, everybody's wrong. That's also dangerous. Truth without love can be truth with pride. And you will develop this arrogant spirituality or arrogant superiority. You are biased. Everything about you, about your group is number one. Everybody else, well, if you don't talk like me, if you don't dress like us, if you don't believe like us, if you don't worship like us, if you don't say things like us, then must come from the devil. Right? That's truth with pride. With pride. It's dangerous. But on the other hand, sometimes we can stand, so you can use the truth to bully people spiritually. Right? But on the other hand, you have people on the other side that says like this, I don't need God. I have money. I have reputation. I have my business. I have my cars, apartments. I have, property di mana-mana. Singapore, Abu Dhabi, all of it. I don't need God. I'm okay. There's also a form of pride, right? Also a form of pride. But a person like that can never grow. Have any of you been to Jerusalem? Or Bethlehem? This is the Church of Nativity in Bethlehem. Gereja tempatnya Yesus lahir, atau paling tidak tempat tulisnya ya. the tourist site, the Church of the Nativity. So it kind of like they have a church there, and if you go to that church, I haven't been there, just seen the pictures. I want to go there. If any of you have, plan to go there, please invite me and don't forget to pay my expenses. Okay, just kidding. Don't forget to pay my expenses. But anywho, so when you go to the church, you will go down into a cave, and that's where you will find the place where allegedly where baby Jesus is born. Okay, so there's a church, and downstairs, or beneath it, is a cave. So saudara ke sana, ya kayak gitu. Ya ini di Bethlehem sana. But maybe today is not a really good time to visit Jerusalem because of the, the whole thing happening right now in the paper. But what I want to focus on is this: when you go into the church, you have to go through what's called the door of humility. The door of humility. See that the size of that door, as you can see, is about only 4 feet tall. 4 feet tall and 2 feet wide. And for those Indonesians, you don't understand what feet is, right? So, saya juga bingung. So 4 feet tall is about 1,2 meter. Ya, tingginya 1,2 meter. Lebarnya sekitar setengah meter. So you can imagine everyone, like the lady over here, if you want to go into the church, you gotta bow. Now, there are many explanations as why the door is made like that. But I like one explanation. The door is to remind us, just like God humbled Himself, God, the owner of the universe, do you know how big the universe is? Trillions of trillions of trillions of trillions of trillions. I can't even count. Kilometers. And that big, and He became a baby. And He had to bow, go into the door of humility. That's called the womb of Mary, right? Itu kan juga pintu kan? Rahimnya Maria itu seperti pintu loh. The womb of humility, and He became man. Just like when we go into that church, it reminds us we have to humble ourselves. Check our ego before we come to see the King of Kings. See, if Jesus Himself, if God Himself has to humble Himself, shouldn't we, His followers, be any different? Because I do believe that humility is the door to growth. You can't grow if I know it all. Right? You can't grow. But if you come to anything at all, not only just about God, but about life, if you come humble, if everything you see as the door of humility, then you will grow. Will you not? I believe so. Yes, sir. So, and finally, people sometimes mix truth and fear, right? So sometimes, as I was saying, you can mix truth with laziness, with pride. But finally, maybe this is not relevant to Asian culture. Sometimes we mix truth and fear. That is, we fail to confront people. We're afraid that the truth might hurt them, something like that, right? We're afraid that we might hurt people's feelings, and we don't say it that way. But then when you have truth and love together, it's the perfect mix. It's the perfect mix. I like this is Keller. Keller says it like this: love without truth is sentimentality. It supports and affirms us, but keeps us in denial about our flaws. Truth without love is harshness. It gives us information, but in such a way that we cannot really hear it. Jadi, kasih kalau nggak ada kebenaran, itu cuma basa-basi lah kayak gitu. Iya sih menerima kita, tapi nggak membantu memperbaiki kesalahan kita. Gitu. Tapi kalau cuma kebenaran tanpa kasih, itu juga brutal, begitu ya. Kejam. Kamu boleh marah, tapi orang nggak akan dengerin. Nggak akan dengerin dia. Karena hatinya sudah luka duluan, right? You might be true, he or she might be doing wrong, but when you confront her without love, you just, okay, I'm wrong. That's it. Nothing's changed. Without love. So I want another passage, very simple. Truth without love is brutality, love without truth is hypocrisy. That's right. And we thank God, right, that we have a God that is full of grace and full of truth. Jesus is full of grace and truth. That means God accepts us where we are and yet does not leave us where we are. Let me repeat that. That means if you have full of grace and truth, that means we have a God that accepts us where we are but are not content in living where we are. Kita punya Tuhan yang menerima kita apa adanya. Amin, haleluya. Tapi kita juga punya Tuhan yang tidak akan meninggalkan kita apa adanya. Supaya kita bisa bertumbuh menjadi orang yang seperti Dia. That's the God I love. So you have all. So you have the truth. You have the Spirit, right? You gotta do it with love. Now, what do you do with this? What is our response? What is our response? And notice, first of all, just final points. Go back to verse 15. Rather, speaking the truth in love, we are to grow up. We are to grow up in every way into Him who is the head, into Christ. Who is the head into every way into Him. So, our response, first of all, is we need to grow in all things to Him. Notice that growth is about growing to Christ, right? Growth is about not just any growth, but specifically growing into Christ in all things. Now, most people, or often, we only want to grow in certain areas only. So we study to get all A's. We learn business to learn a lot of money. We take piano lessons, Mandarin lessons, karate lessons, drawing lessons, coding lessons, right? For what? To become what? Well, to become rich and successful. Is it wrong to be rich and successful? Of course not. Nothing is wrong with that. But see, if you only focus on that, that can be a problem, right? Isn't it interesting that if you read some of the biographers of dictators and even terrorist leaders today, some of them, or maybe most of them, they have master's degree. They have PhDs. How can someone so educated drop bombs and kill millions of people? So intellectual prowess doesn't mean you are growing as a person. Or look at families, wealthy families, for instance. We can see that even powerful and wealthy families are not immune to marital problems, for instance. Masalah rumah tangga ada di keluarga yang kaya, juga di keluarga yang miskin. Right? That means financial strength doesn't equal to better person. So what I'm saying is, sometimes you only focus on financial growth, intellectual growth, social growth, computer growth, and I know all of this kind of physical growth, and we neglect the most important, spiritual growth. Jesus puts it like this: man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes out of the word of God. So if you don't want your life to be imbalanced, kalau saudara nggak mau hidup saudara pincang, you gotta take care of your spiritual life. You gotta take care, you gotta nurture your spiritual growth for you to have a balanced life. And finally, what we can respond, besides, of course, we speak the truth in love, okay? That's obviously the point. So we grow in Christ, we speak the truth in love, even though we know that it might be costly, but we gotta speak the truth, right? But the final point, I think, related with Ephesians 4 and all this context is, we learn to love people as they are. We learn to love people as they are. It's Christmas now, or it's Christmas season, and one of the best illustration, I think, one of the cool picture I like to use is belusukan. Saudara tahu belusukan? You know belusukan? Belusukan means you just going from, usually the official, like, it's made popular by Jokowi and Ahok. Basically, they go belusukan into a neighborhood, usually a poor neighborhood, a kampung, and they, get to know the people and and address their needs. That's what belusukan is. Someone high up go into something, a place that's dirty. Now, let's say Jokowi has a schedule for a belusukan, right? So Jokowi mau belusukan, and he select one kampung, one neighborhood, one poor neighborhood. Are they gonna clean the neighborhood to welcome President Jokowi? Yes, sure, they'll clean it up. But they don't. They're just gonna clean up just on the outside, right? You can't clean up everything because they know the situation is not clean. It's still dirty. It's still a mess. Trash everywhere. A poor living condition. But they try to put up a good front, right? Mereka coba memberikan yang baik supaya Jokowi bisa datang, right? They put up a good front so Jokowi can come and this is look at the game. But then he knows when Jokowi or anybody else or an official goes to a specific kampung to do belusukan, they know they came not to a clean place, right? They know they came to a dirty place. Because if they go to a clean place, they don't call it belusukan. You might as well just stay at home, right? But they go because they know it's dirty, it needs fixing. Now imagine if Jokowi came to the dirtiest, messiest, most violent neighborhood in Indonesia. Imagine that. And then he decided, I'm gonna drop my title as president of Indonesia. I'm gonna change my clothes like your clothes. I'm gonna live with you. That's what Christianity teaches. God of the universe, he forsake his godness, his identity, and he became one of us. He moved into the neighborhood. That's how one translation put it. He moved into the neighborhood. He knows it's a clean neighborhood. It's dirty, but he's there to clean it up, right? He's there to make a difference. So the lesson is Jesus accepts people where they are. Clean, dirty, messy, sinful. So, our church then, the church, look at that. We learn from Jesus' example, this Christmas month. We learn to also love people, accept people as they are. The church, not the local bar, should be the place where people can come to tell the truth and be accepted. Harusnya gereja, bukan diskotik, bukan kafe, di tempat curhat gitu loh saudara. Dikasihi, disayangi. The church should be a place like that where we can welcome sinners, they can share their lives, and rather than we are put off by it, we can embrace them. That's the church supposed to be, right? That's what church is supposed to be. A place where people can come, tell the truth, and yet loved, not rejected. But often now, it's not the church anymore that does that. It's the local bar. It's entertainment places. No, we should be the one to be the agents of change. We should be the one to become a community that speaks the truth in love, like following the example of Jesus who came to be where we are. Let's pray.